Welcome back to another Live and Amplified Livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we are here at CMA Fest 2024. We got a very special guest. We got Austin Williams. How's it going today, man?
It's going amazing, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed listening to your music. You know, I kind of randomly ran across you by actually accident. I'm going to say this. I was at a music festival, and a buddy of mine was doing he was just screwing around with a guitar, and he did something similar to your 90s rap mashup.
Yes, sir.
And he was just kind of playing this chord progression, and he was just like, I found this chord progression you could sing almost any song to, and he just started playing around, and everybody would just kind of jump in and just start singing random songs to it. And I was like, I wonder if anybody's ever done that. That's kind of a genius idea. And then you were starting to promo.
Yes, sir.
It was right around the time you were starting to promo your 90s rap song, and I was like, who is this guy? Okay. And then I just started jumping into your music. It's so absolutely cool, amazing.
Man. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, awesome. So what's kind of your background?
So I grew up, I'm actually a Nashville native. I grew up about 30 minutes north of town in a little tobacco farming town called Springfield, Tennessee.
Okay.
And, grew up playing baseball. I wanted to be nothing more than a college baseball player.
Okay.
And I had a spinal fusion back surgery when I was going into my 8th grade year of middle school. And during that downtime, I kind of watched all the sports shows and all the cooking channels I could watch. So I decided to write a song. And I grew up, growing up around Nashville. You grow up around a lot of great songwriters, and they don't talk about bad songs they write. So I wrote this song and it wasn't very good. Yeah. So I was like, oh, well, these guys write great songs and I don't. This isn't for me. So I threw it away, and then my freshman year of high school, one of the first projects of the year was to write a song.
Okay.
And I was a new kid at school. Expressing yourself in those early teen years is hard anyways, especially when you're the new guy.
Yeah.
And so I found a love of just being able to express myself through music. And then that kind of grew into not only expressing myself, but trying to help other people express themselves through my music.
Nice. That's cool. When you were obviously you threw that first song away, have you ever thought about trying to remember it, or do you?
I've tried. I went back in my notes in my phone and found it.
Oh, nice.
And just to reminisce of that's kind of where it started.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things. It's a process, and especially growing up like you had mentioned, growing up in a place like Nashville and around Nashville, you see all these musicians. They just keep throwing out. It seems like they keep throwing out number one hits. And,
it's all you hear about.
Yeah, and it's all they talk about. And it's like, oh, I can't write a number one hit, so I'm done.
Exactly.
So I'm going to go do what I do. But the fact that you kind of, by luck or whatever you want to call it, you had the project in high school, and it was just oh, hey, maybe I'm not as bad as I think.
Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
So. Was it at that point in high school then that you kind of decided to?
Not really. So I was doing it just kind of an escape route.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have an escape route, and that was kind of my escape.
Yeah.
And it was never I wanted to do this. I didn't even feel that I was good. It just it was healing, so I did it. And then I was watching American Idol, and a kid named Caleb Lee Hutchinson.
Yeah.
I thought I sounded like him. And I was like, maybe I can sing. And I didn't know. My mom's godfather owned a record label in town, and he wrote the song Ramblin' Man for Waylon Jennings. And he produced Gene Watson and Farron Young and Ray Price. And, that was kind of my only ever into the music business, to the business side of things. And but he had passed away right before then in a house fire. So I didn't have any idea how to get into the business. Yeah. I knew how to kind of get into the songwriting business, but not the artist world. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm just going to go sing for anybody that'll listen. So there was this little bar that had karaoke. Okay. And I would go every single night. They would have karaoke and sing. And I ended up meeting a guy named Daryl Miller that, he had moved to town to write songs, and he would, he was kind of sent me down. We wrote some songs together, and it kind of grew to where he showed me to his friends, and next thing led to next, and I ended up where I am.
Nice. That's really cool. It just goes to show that it's easy in Nashville to get discouraged, like we had mentioned, but if you just find your passion and you're able to make it work, it's also very rewarding once it kind of does.
That's the thing about Nashville is growing up here. Yeah. All the people that move in from out of town, right? They move in with this idea of I'm going to be a country star. Yeah. And now living here, I knew how many people moved here that thinking they're going to be a country star. So I kind of had a little bit of an advantage because I knew what I was stepping into. Yeah. And I'm a big believer in faith, and I'm a big believer in purpose. Mm-hmm. and everybody has a purpose. And I've seen so many amazing, talented guys come to town and it just not work.
Yeah.
And there's no explanation other than it wasn't their purpose.
Yeah.
And so I kind of come into it with a mindset of I'm going to work as hard as I can and can control the three things. You can't control life.
Yeah.
But what you can control is how hard you work, how well you listen, and your attitude.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I said, I'm going to come in, I'm going to excel at those three things. And I'm going to put myself in the best possible situation. So if this is my purpose, it works. And if it's not my purpose, I can walk away and say, that wasn't for me.
Right. That's a great way to look at it, because I especially doing this podcast. I've been doing this podcast for almost 9 years at this point, and I've seen a lot of people that really talented musicians, but it just wasn't their purpose. So they took a stab at it, and it just didn't work out.
And I told a guy, I met this guy from Florida that was talking about it. I said, man, this is either your purpose or a stepping stone to get to your purpose. Yeah. It's all part of the plan. Some people it's the end plan, some people it's not.
Yeah, for sure. 100% agreed. So I don't want to skip over. You got a new song that just dropped, was it 4 weeks ago? I'm trying to do math in my head.
Yes, sir. Somewhere around there. Yeah. Nothing Left Believing.
What's the kind of story behind that song?
Man, it's the second outside song I've ever cut.
Nice.
I'm growing up in Nashville, a lot of people think down on cutting outside songs, but I'm a true believer in a great song's meant to be heard. And so it was actually some really, really good friends of mine that I write with a lot. And Mason Thornley, Ethan Eskew, and Presley Aaron, and they sent me the song, and I heard it, and I was like, man, that's so good. I was like, I would love to cut it, you know. And so they was like, I would actually love nothing more than that. And so to see the song do well, especially with three of my dear friends, as writers, means the world to me.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And that's always kind of a weird thing, because it's like you can write a good song, but if it's not for your voice or for you,
exactly,
it's not always going to work.
Exactly.
So as a writer, being aware of that, where it's like, oh, this really needs like a guy's voice or a deeper, like whatever it is.
And there's a lot of guys, and seeing it, growing up around songwriters my whole life, there's a lot of guys that those outside songs are what feed their kids at night. And so it's like a lot of and artists are coming more and more unwilling to cut the outside song. Which if that's your thing, that's great. But I'm a true believer that those guys had a purpose to write songs.
Yeah.
And if I heard that song and felt compelled to sing that song, I'm always going to sing it.
Oh, 100% agreed. I think that's an amazing way to approach the industry. It's not only are you helping yourself by writing a song that's, even though you didn't write it, you feel an authentic connection to it. But you're also helping the writer by making sure they get paid, just like, because at the end of the day, it's the music business. So if you're more people you're helping, that's great. So
and it's so rewarding to kind of do it, and see friends of yours, benefit off of. We put a lot of hard work into PR Camp. My social media team, they're great. They work their freaking butts off, And we worked our butts off, pushing this song and promoting this song, and to see it work and be able to help my friends, it's great. You love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. So where are you kind of at right now creatively? Are you writing, recording? Where are you?
So we're writing a lot. We're fixing to hit the road.
Okay.
We're playing festivals for the next 3 months.
Nice.
We're doing our first headline tour. Sweet. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say that, but I'm going to.
Well, you got your team behind you. They would have been throwing something at you.
We're going to do our first headline tour in September and October.
Nice.
And then in November, we're going to go on tour with Chase Matthew. We just announced that.
That's
we're
awesome.
We're going to go to Canada and a lot of the Midwest.
Nice.
So excited. I love Canada.
That's really cool. That's awesome. You've been to Canada before?
Yes, sir. I went to Canada with Warren Ziders.
Okay.
We toured Canada in March.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to that. We got a lot of music coming up. We're putting out. We got the next single is called Quitter.
Okay.
I'm super excited about it. The traction on TikTok's been great.
Nice.
The numbers have been good. And then we got an EP coming out after that with 2 new songs called Broken Things, Break Things. And then the other song on the project is called Man Down.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have a whole nother EP after that.
Nice.
And then after that, I want to put a gospel project somewhere in the middle of that.
Sweet. That's
awesome.
awesome.
A lot of music. A lot of music.
Hey, but you're staying busy. That's the important part.
It's kind of like running. It's kind of like running a business. Anytime you're busy, it's good business.
But it's also really cool because you've kind of understand the modern day music business, because it's like if you're not releasing smaller or like singles every month or so, then you're going to fall behind if you're not releasing bigger projects every.
I look at it like a rubber band.
Right.
So, like my rubber band's really small.
Yeah.
So you pull the rubber band back to like the max distance.
Yeah.
And then let it go and it hits the hardest.
Yeah.
But now if you pull it back too far, it breaks.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like Morgan Wallen. He can go 2 years without putting out a project. And that's how he gets his max, the max when he lets go of the band, because his band's so much bigger than mine.
Yeah.
But then my rubber band's so much smaller. So that 4 to 6 week mark is kind of the max that I can pull it back without, then you got guys like Zach Bryan who, just have this like totally left field release plan.
Right.
He walks into the office, says, "Hey, I want to put out music today."
Right.
And they're like, "Let's do it."
That's always so bizarre to me. It's like, okay, yeah, let's do that. So
I've got nothing but praise for his team. I've got to, kind of see how that works. And they're so just like excited about it. Like Zach wants to like walk in and like, "Hey, let's do this." And they're like, "Let's make it happen."
Nice. Awesome. So, really appreciate your time sitting down and chatting with me. I've been following you at least hardcore for the last 6 months or so.
Amazing.
And, when I saw that your team reached out to me and was like, "Hey, let's get this set up," I was like, it was one of the, like, I don't do a lot of fist bump moments, but this was a fist bump moment for me, so I really appreciate that. So
thank you, brother.
And outside of music, though, really quickly, what do you like to do when you need time to
Man,
decompress?
I'm an outdoorsman, so I'm a big like hunt, fish, be in nature, and then I just took up golfing.
Really?
Just took up golfing. So I had a spinal fusion back surgery. So after baseball ended, I don't use it a lot, so it kind of gets tight.
Yeah.
And muscle tightness and all that. Well, I learned that through golf, I kind of use that same muscle, muscle group, and it kind of loosens me up again. And it's competition, and I can get away from music.
Yeah.
It's kind of I can go out there and I'm so focused on this one thing because I'm not very good at it,
right.
And try to get better. And but I love the outdoors. I love to hunt and fish. The peacefulness of just being in like nature and just God's creation and just soaking it in.
For sure. I don't know what it is about golf, but there's a lot of people that are just like really into golf right now.
Oh, I made up with it.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I was in it in high school. Like, I was really into golf, and I was like all about it. And then it was just like nobody golfed up in the side. Like, and it was just like, okay, I'm good on this. So yeah. But really appreciate your time. If anybody wants to check out your music, any upcoming releases, all the fun stuff, social media, where's the best place to find you?
Austin Williams _music, TikTok, Instagram, the whole 9 yards.
Awesome. Well, thank you, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll catch you all later.